It's hard enough choosing the right watch. Imagine trying to design, build and launch one. Hi and welcome to Last Watch. If you're new to the channel, then please consider subscribing, like this video and hit the notifications button. I'd hate for you to miss out on any of my future content. As a watch reviewer, I'm always on the lookout for something new to share with you, my audience, and they don't get much newer than a prototype from a microbrand that has yet to launch. This is the DiveMaster 300 from Matterhorn Watch Company. All going well, it should launch on Kickstarter around the 1st of April. That's no joke. Just in time for Easter. The DiveMaster is not the first prototype to appear on the channel. That honour goes to the Cambrian from Foreteller, which I reviewed back in December of last year. The Cambrian was an affordable, well-spec'd watch. Sadly, it didn't hit its target goals and was put on ice for a slated relaunch later this year. Proof, if you need it, that there's no guarantee a product will sell. I look forward to having a production model of the Cambrian on the channel if and when it hits the market. This raises the question, does the DiveMaster have the credentials for a successful launch? Let's start by looking at its specifications. It has a diameter of 41mm and a lug width of 20mm. The lug to lug length is 49mm. And it's got a considerable case thickness of 14.5mm. The weight on the bracelet, which was already sized for a 7-inch wrist, comes in at 155.6 grams. Now there are a few caveats that I should bring to your attention. This watch is a prototype currently out on loan to various reviewers. I'm not the first to look at it, therefore I don't expect it to be in pristine condition. Also, it's not the finished article. Some of its design will change on the final production models. More importantly, I only have this watch for the time it takes me to do the review, and I'm working under an agreed embargo. It's currently the last week of February, and I will post this video mid-March. Some of the design changes I've been told about may yet change. If at the end of this review you're still keen to grab the DiveMaster, then I suggest you confirm exactly what you're paying for before spending any cash. Okay, that's the disclaimer out the way. Before we look at the watch, I just want to say a few words on the brand. Matterhorn is a London-based brand inspired by and dedicated to the golden age of British explorers, mountaineers and adventurers. The brand have taken their name from the Matterhorn mountain that sits between Italy and Switzerland. Switzerland, of course, famed for its watchmaking. The race to reach the summit of the Matterhorn was won in 1865 by English mountaineer Edward Whymper, a truly daring alpinist given the technology of the time. Tahir, the company founder, hopes to produce watches worthy of the modern day adventurer, and what better way to honour an alpinist than with a dive watch. Okay, I apologise for being a bit flippant, but I had to point it out. It's kind of the elephant in the room, a dive watch from a brand named after a mountain. But this is no faux pas on the side of Tahir. The DiveMaster is the first watch from Matterhorn, which currently has no brand history, and by releasing a dive watch, Tahir has given himself the best chance of a successful launch. I mean, who doesn't love a dive watch? All going well, Matterhorn will follow up with other tool watches. I look forward to seeing their take on the alpinist, or even an explorer. The case of the DiveMaster 300 is made from the standard 316L stainless steel. The face of the case has defined circular brushing, but the mid case has a much finer finish. The case appears quite thick and sits high on the wrist, no doubt due to a fat case back and quite thick bezel, which I will come to shortly. It does, however, benefit from relatively short turn-down lugs, and the fact that the body of the watch seems to disappear behind the bezel, which is marginally wider than the case diameter. There is a well-protected, easy-to-grip, medium-sized screw-down crown, which has been etched with the Matterhorn logo. The left-hand side of the case has been adorned with an applied badge, with screws to hold it in place. Now, I was expecting to hate this when I saw the initial pictures, but in reality it's more subtle than I gave it credit for, and having the brand name on the side of your watch is a design element that has been used by the likes of Invicta, Squall and Blancpain. There are however some noticeable rough edges to this little plaque which you may not appreciate. Let me know if you're a fan. The bezel is quite thick and fittingly its edge has mountain knurling. Yes folks, knurling comes with different grade finishes and names. Who knew? The bezel has a blue aluminium inlay with white markers denoting the first 15 minutes, followed by Arabics thereafter for the 10-minute markers and indices for the 5-minute markers, with an inverted triangle at the 12 o'clock position. All of these markers are applied with BGW9 Superluminova. The bezel action rotates unidirectionally through 120 clicks. It is very stiff and hard going and will certainly need remedied. The only benefit being that there is absolutely no backplay. Framed by the very stiff bezel is a flat sapphire crystal which will come with an anti-reflective coating. It's missing that on the prototype. Beneath the crystal is a matte blue dial which under certain light conditions can almost appear black. I've got very used to seeing Rolex inspired dials on Microbrand watches, but it's a safe bet that the DiveMaster 300 takes its design cues from Omega, which would also explain the DiveMaster 300 tag. The chapter ring has applied silver framed hour markers filled with BGW9 lume. There are trapezoids at the 3, 6, 9 and 12 o'clock positions, with batons to represent the remaining hours. The indices for the first 15 minutes are a crisp burnt orange, the rest are white. We also have Arabics at the 6, 9 and 12 o'clock positions, which I'm a big fan of, possibly because they look like they came from the dial of the Omega Railmaster. The date window at 3 o'clock comes with its own polished silver frame. The date wheel is white with black Arabics, something that will be reversed on the production models, which will come with a negative display, white on black. Below the 12 o'clock Arabic is a well-defined printed Matterhorn logo and script. The mountain logo is bold and precise. If there's one thing that Matterhorn have nailed, it's their logo. Above the 6 o'clock Arabic, we have 3 lines of printed text. The first 2 lines, automatic and water resistance, are printed in white. 30 bar and 300 meters are deep orange, bordering on red. The DiveMaster 300 name has been entirely forgotten. I mentioned this to Matterhorn, who informed me that the DiveMaster 300 name will replace some of this text. They hadn't actually decided on the model name before producing the prototype. The Dauphine style hour and minute handset are polished silver with a white fill of BGW9N lume. Their tips have a blunt edge that you might expect to see on a Grand Seiko. You wish. The silver seconds hand has a long orange syringe tip, which is also filled with lume. I'll drop in a lume shot here to show what is effectively a fully lumed dial and bezel. The watch has a screw down display caseback, which shows the Seiko NH35 movement within. The Seiko NH35 is a stalwart of many microbrands. It has a 3 Hz movement with 24 joules that ticks at 21,600 beats an hour. It has a 41-hour power reserve and an accuracy rating of between -20 and +40 seconds per day. It's not uncommon to get results at less than +10 seconds per day. As this is a prototype, I thought it unfair to test its accuracy. The NH35 is no looker. It's an absolute workhorse, but no show pony. This particular movement is undecorated, so I'm surprised that it's on display. The caseback is finished with some text around its perimeter, giving an outline of the watch's specifications. A slimmer solid caseback with an engraved Matterhorn logo may have been a better design option. The 3-link oyster style bracelet is entirely brushed stainless steel. It has well-fitted female solid end links, which add nothing to the footprint, or should I say case size, on your wrist. It tapers from 20mm at the lugs to 18mm at the buckle. The 20mm buckle has an etched logo and Matterhorn text. It has a fold-over safety and a double push-button release, which reveals a milled clasp. The bracelet links appear quite chunky, coming in at a little over 3mm thick. They have push pins making them dead easy to resize. There's also 3 holes for micro adjustment on the clasp. I understand that the clasp will be swapped out for an improved model with extra micro adjustment. The DiveMaster came to me in this substantial black cardboard box with a magnetic lid. Inside you'll find the watch, an instruction manual, a Matterhorn branded sizing tool, and a deep blue tropic style rubber strap. The strap has a brushed stainless steel tang and buckle, which sports an offset Matterhorn logo. It also comes with quick release spring bars, which should come in very handy. The DiveMaster 300 will have a recommended retail price of £229, with an early bird Kickstarter of only £160, which I think is around $200. Best to get in early if you like what you see. At the moment there are a choice of 3 colour options: this blue, a standard black, and an ever popular green. I should imagine the rubber straps will be colour coordinated to match your watch. Depending on pre-order sales, the watch may very well come with drill lugs as standard, and a possible no-date option. At £160 or $200, the DiveMaster 300 is an appealing proposition if you don't mind a thick diver. It sits high on the wrist and feels somewhat top heavy. You definitely know you're wearing this watch. The name plaque on the side is an unusual touch that may or may not appeal to you. It's a solid tool watch that strays enough from the usual design elements of a standard homage. It has a few chinks in its armour that should be fixed on the production models. That bezel action certainly needs addressing. I like the fact that it owes more of its design to Omega than Rolex. It's not a bad looker, but in an ocean of microbrands it will need a loyal following to stay afloat. The Cambrian from Foreteller was proof that people want more than just another affordable well-specced dive watch. The Matterhorn brand is dedicated to an age of adventurers. I feel that the watch, like those great British explorers, could have been much more daring in its design. Share your thoughts on the DiveMaster 300 in the comments below, and let me know if you think it's bold enough for a spot on your wrist. As I mentioned earlier, this review is being done some weeks in advance, and with all prototypes, the design is subject to change. In fact, I was told of several alterations during the week I had with this watch. I would definitely be checking out the updated watch specifications on the Matterhorn website and Kickstarter page before committing your funds to this project. I'll add the relevant links in the video description below. How time flies. It's now the middle of March, and just as I'm about to publish this review, Matterhorn have contacted me to say that their Kickstarter campaign looks more likely to launch in mid-April. Starting a microbrand is no easy matter. Many thanks to Matterhorn for loaning me the DiveMaster 300 for review. It's greatly appreciated. I wish you every success and look forward to seeing what you have planned for the rest of 2021. And to you last watchers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.